I guess you start all the way back in 1904 when our grandfather came to California from Kentucky. He spent, I don't know, several years in Los Angeles area. Got married there, and then moved up here and actually went to work for the Cape Dairy, which is just a few miles from here. That we think was about 1910. And from there, he bought a few pieces of ground here and there around, and we ended up on this property. My cousins ended up across the street on another piece of property, and we've been here ever since. You know, so
He acquired a lot of ground because he had 4 kids, and they all ended up with a farm. The Nobles, you may or may not know, but they had a dairy farm, and they had Tulare Home Dairy, and they had a home over there by Bobby Wilbur, and then my uncle's right across the street, and he had ground, and my dad had ground, and it was all acquired by our grandfather. A side note on our grandfather, he was born in Montgomery County, Kentucky, in 1885. And then he and his dad had gone to town one day, and coming out, somebody shot his dad in the back. And so at 5, he was an orphan. He had a mother, but she couldn't support him. They put him in, they didn't have orphanages then. They'd put him in bond. Somebody agreed to take him, and they'd put him to work, hopefully where they could learn a trade. And after so many years, they'd let him out and get him on their way. When he got out, I think he was 21, they gave him a horse and a saddle. And from there, he managed to end up here.
I think he actually sold the horse, and that got him a train ticket out here. It's kind of how it went. So that's kind of how we ended up here.
Another side deal is he farmed a lot of ground and did very, very well. But during the Depression, the banks pulled all the loans, and he was broke like everybody else with 4 kids and nothing to do. And he wanted to buy this particular ranch right here. And he didn't have any money. Well, he went to Boswell Company, who would finance people, and tried to borrow the money. He went before the board. They turned him down because he didn't have a down payment or any deposit. As he walked out the door, Colonel Boswell, the original founder of Boswell Company, intercepted him. He said, "Henry, come over here." He gave him a check, says, "Go tell him you got the goddamn money." We farmed this ranch ever since. My dad farmed it until he passed away. And when he passed away, Doug was doing all the farming. And we were farming on the west side. And here, the first decision, we dropped the west side because farming was pretty close. There was nothing but risk. Come back and just farm this. And our goal has been to get this into pistachios. We now have it all in pistachios. We live here in Tulare. We've been very, very stable. Been in the same house since 1974. Had the same partner, not Doug, but another partner for 50 years this June. Don't move around much. But my wife is Betty. You've met her. And we've been married, I think, 38 years. It's been a wonderful relationship. I was having trouble getting that number. We have 1 daughter, and we have 1 son. The daughter is married to Roman Betancourt from Hanford. He's an electrician, has a contracting business, very, very successful. Our son works in nursing, and he's in Visalia doing that. Have 2 grandchildren. One's just now graduating out of Santa Barbara. The other one has graduated and is working with his dad.
Well, I've got a few more kids. We've got Marcia and I have been married for 36 years, I think, something on that line. I haven't gotten very far in life. I was born in this house, and I'm still here. So I think my parents moved in here a month before I was born. 4 kids. Oldest son is a detective in Fresno. Uh, my youngest son works locally here on a farm for one of the neighbors. Uh, Two daughters, one's in Seattle. She's a pharmaceutical rep, and youngest daughter is a nurse in San Luis. Six grandkids, and real close with all of them. It's a lot of fun. They'll all be here at the meeting, and that's kind of it, you know.
I'm partners with Doug in this ranch. I have a sister, and she is too. But Doug is a farmer. He's farmed it entirely ever since my dad was alive. And but I'm quite a bit older than everybody else. I'm 9 or 10 years older than Doug, and then another 4 years more older than my sister. And from at a very early stage in my life, I moved to Northern California, and it was renting a piece of property up there growing row crops. I met a man up there that was my dentist. He'd only been in practice 4 years, and Chico, when it turns into winter, it just rains all the time. So you either get drunk all the time or you go try and do something. We decided to look into pistachios because he had a neighbor who had a little pistachio block. We got very enthused. There literally weren't any. People would have 1 acre or 5 acres in their backyard. If they did any processing, they had to get a potato peeler or something, do it themselves. They'd dry them on drying trays. They'd boil them in saltwater brine or oil, and sell them at a local fruit stand or something. There's not any semblance of an industry. Ken and I got interested, and we wanted to plant trees, but there were no nurseries, so we built a little nursery. And the first thing that happened is Superior Oil Company showed up from Bakersfield because they were experimenting with new crops. They bought every tree we had. They come back within a couple of weeks, bought every tree we could grow the next year. With that, we were nurserymen. But what we did is Ken, my partner, made a 16 millimeter movie and took pictures of the current state of the industry, the orchards, and the processing that the people were doing. It was not commercial processing. And we made up a brochure from some literature that was available telling people that there were pistachios. There was such a thing as pistachios. And we went up and down the highway and showing it to everybody, look. Today there's over 330,000 acres planted, and we're making billion-pound crops. The mid-'70s, the trees we first started planting had absolutely zero disease resistance. They were dying off like crazy to verticillium wilt. You look at an orchard from 10,000 feet, you see these giant holes in it. It looked like a war zone where bombs were going off. And since I grew up in Tulare, I knew how bad wilt could be. So we started gathering seed from wherever we could get it, and we'd grow it. And then I went to Davis, Dr. Wilhelm, and he showed us how to take inoculum. He'd give us inoculum and treat the seeds and to see if they could live with wilt. First year we found trees that were resistant to wilt. I just figured that they've been around since Jesus was laid to rest under one, when he was born. And they've been around that long. There's some somewhere that are resistant. And so by 1976, 78, the industry completely stopped over this verticillium. And one of our local guys here, Leland McCarthy, had one of the larger farms. And he called me one day and said, hey, I'm losing this whole ranch to wilt. I'm going to lose this ranch. And I got a board of directors and people to explain to. And he said, I know you got a wilt-resistant tree. Why in the hell won't you sell it to me? We'd been putting rows in people's orchards for a number of years. And they just stand out because here's these rows of live trees. But I explained to Leland, we didn't know enough about the tree to release it. It would get wilt, but by midsummer it seemed like they'd grow through it and then they'd be fine. Some of them would repeat and get it again and grow through it, but I don't remember seeing hardly any trees ever die. And then this tree would freeze, So why would somebody want to plant a tree that freeze when pistachios don't freeze? And he says, I don't give a damn. I'm losing the ranch. So with that, we sold him, I don't know, 30, 40,000 trees, released the variety, been selling it ever since. And the industry come back alive.
In 1972, I quit school and went to work for Dad. He drove me out to Lost Hills, where we were renting ground out there and farming cotton, and I right away questioned my judgment as to whether or not I should stay in school. But we've been farming out there ever since. We've still got a small block of trees out there, and then also farm this ranch. Farm just about every crop that everybody else farms in the area. We farm some vegetables, a lot of cotton, grain, corn, all the typical crops that you grow around here. Planted the first block of pistachios on this ranch just south of the house here, and that was in '83, and then we slowly converted over, and we've got all the acreage we've got left here is all in trees now, and it's all in production, which is very good. In '98, I got my real estate license. I put my license with Bill Travis, somebody a lot of people will know. In '05, I got my broker's license, and in '06, Russ Waymeyer joined me. And Russ is an interesting individual, and I don't think there's a farmer in the valley that he doesn't know. And that's a recipe for success if you're going to sell farm real estate in the valley. I think 2012, no. I can't remember exactly when Dan, Russ's son-in-law, went to work for it, but between us, we moved a lot of property around. Dan and Russ now have their own firm. Dan always wanted to get his broker's license and go, so, but we still work real close together. We pretty much stay local now. We farm kind of all over, but I got tired of wearing out tires and pickups, and so this is where I'm at, you know. So this is home.
Probably our biggest single deal is when our dad died, we put on a charity tournament in his name, and he liked to gamble, so it was a gambling tournament, and we'd take 10% off the top and set it aside and give that to charity. We gave money to the local hospital, we gave it to a lot of places, but we finally settled in on the district high schools and their golf programs, because we made all our money in golf and we wanted to help the kids. We put that tournament on for 20 years. It was very, very successful, but we had a board, and then they just wore out. We were the last directors. We got two besides us that are still alive. And so just this year, we've gone 10 years or longer with giving money out of the money we set aside. In other words, as we made money, we'd set a small amount for a perpetual fund. And just this year, we wrote a final check, so we're going to close the thing down, gave 170-some thousand to the high schools. And that's started in 1980. And, but we do everything. We just went to a great big CASA deal. We go all over, and with our foundation, when it was alive, we were famous for helping people in trouble. Somebody'd get in trouble and needed some help and money. We'd put on a fundraiser for them. We'd do a barbecue for them. We just did a lot of stuff. But right now, we're getting older. I'm 75, and I don't know how old Doug is.
Old enough to know better.
But we've kind of worn out. We're slowing down.
Yeah. Well, we support the auctions at the 4-H auctions and that type of stuff. But, all the things that you're supposed to do for a community, we try to participate in.
I've never been very civic minded. I was a member of Elks for years, but I'm not a member of any clubs right now. We've been amazingly stable. I've been with a family my entire life. Uh, I've been a partner with Doug, I have no idea how many years. I've got a business partner in Visalia. His name's Ken Purrier. He and I this June will have been partners for 50 years. Lived in the same house since '74. And Betty and I have been married 38 years, I think, and it's been a wonderful relationship. Uh, I've had a great life and a lot of good friends, and appreciate every one of them and everything.
Well, this is a real nice honor. I'm real thankful for everybody that's helped through the years, my family, my kids, my wife, Marcia. It's also the community. You know, it makes it all worthwhile when you're part of a bigger part of the whole deal. So it's been a good run, and I like it, and I enjoy doing what I do. So thanks a lot.
It's really easy when you enjoy what you do. I enjoy every single day. I get up and I'm excited, and I don't know how to be unhappy. I mean, it's been good, and the community is fabulous.